You don't see it on your paycheck. It doesn't show up on your bank statement. No government ever votes on it, but you pay it anyway, every time your money moves too fast. Imagine this. You get paid on Friday. By Monday, your money already buys less. Not because prices officially changed, not because a new tax was announced, but because something invisible happened in the background. Money sped up. And when money speeds up, someone always pays. That's the story we're telling today. Because right now, money is moving faster than at almost any point in modern history. And the cost of that speed is quietly being pushed onto you. This matters now because we live in a world obsessed with speed. Instant payments, one-click investing, high-frequency trading measured in microseconds. Governments injecting trillions with a keystroke. Everything feels more efficient, more modern, more liquid. But speed has a price. And in finance, speed doesn't just change outcomes, it redistributes wealth. Let's start with a simple idea. Money isn't just a thing, it's a flow. What matters isn't only how much money exists, but how fast it circulates. Economists call this velocity, but forget the jargon. Think of it like this. If $1 is spent once a year, it has a small impact. If the same dollar is spent 10 times a year, it shapes prices, wages, and markets far more aggressively. Same dollar, different speed, very different consequences. Now here's the uncomfortable part. When money moves faster, prices don't rise evenly. They rise selectively, and that's where the invisible tax begins. Let's rewind for a second. For most of human history, money moved slowly. Coins changed hands physically. Trade took time. Credit was limited. Information traveled at the speed of messengers. Inflation existed, but it was usually tied to real shortages or disasters. Then came modern banking, then credit cards, then digital money, then algorithms. Today, money doesn't walk. It teleports. A hedge fund can move billions in seconds. A central bank can create trillions overnight. Markets can reprice entire economies before breakfast. But your salary? That moves once or twice a month. That mismatch is the key. When money speeds up at the top and stays slow at the bottom, the system starts taxing time. And the people with the least control over time pay the most. Here's how it works. When new money enters the system, whether through stimulus, cheap credit, or financial markets, it doesn't land everywhere at once. It enters specific channels first. Banks, large institutions, asset markets, those closest to the source get to spend the money before prices adjust. They buy stocks, real estate, companies, land. Assets go up. Later, sometimes much later, that same money trickles into wages, services, and everyday prices. By the time it reaches you, the purchasing power has already been diluted. You didn't lose money directly. You lost timing. That's the invisible tax. And it gets worse when money moves faster. Because speed compresses the gap between cause and effect. Prices react instantly. Wages don't. Rent updates annually. Groceries update weekly. Paychecks update? Maybe. So while inflation is often talked about as a general rise in prices, what people actually experience is something more personal. Your costs accelerate. Your income lags. That gap is the tax, and nobody sends you a receipt. Now let's layer in modern markets. High-frequency trading firms don't make money by being smarter about the economy. They make money by being faster. They profit from fractions of a second. Tiny inefficiencies that exist only because money moves at different speeds for different players. To them, speed is a weapon. To you, speed is noise. Your retirement account reacts after the move. Your savings account updates after inflation. Your buying power erodes quietly in the background. Again, not because anyone cheated you, but because the system rewards velocity before value. This is why asset bubbles feel inevitable now. When money moves fast, it doesn't ask careful questions. It chases momentum. If prices are rising, speed amplifies belief. Belief amplifies buying. Buying amplifies prices. And suddenly, reality is irrelevant. Until it isn't. Then the crash comes. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Crashes don't erase the invisible tax. They lock it in. When markets fall, asset owners lose paper wealth, but prices rarely fall at the same speed they rose. Rent doesn't crash, food doesn't crash, education doesn't crash. So the upside was fast. The downside is sticky. Speed on the way up. Slowness on the way down. That asymmetry is the system. Now let's talk about governments. When economies slow, governments respond with speed. Stimulus checks, emergency lending, liquidity injections. The logic is simple. Move money fast enough to stop the bleeding. And sometimes it works. But fast money doesn't disappear when the crisis ends. It stays in circulation, chasing returns, chasing yield, chasing anything that looks alive. This is why periods of heavy intervention are often followed by asset booms, not broad prosperity. Money found movement, not meaning. And while headlines celebrate rising markets, everyday life quietly gets more expensive. Again, invisible tax. You didn't vote for it, you didn't approve it. but you finance it through time. The longer you wait for your income to adjust, the more you pay. Now here's where the story turns slightly absurd. We celebrate speed as progress. Faster payments, faster trades, faster growth. But in a system where speed determines who gets ahead, slowing down isn't inefficiency, it's vulnerability. If your money moves slowly because you earn wages, save conservatively, or avoid risk, you become the shock absorber for everyone else's acceleration. You absorb volatility, you absorb inflation, you absorb delay. That's not a moral judgment, it's a mechanical one. And the math doesn't care how hard you work. This also explains why financial inequality widens even during good times. Those with fast money outrun price increases. Those with slow money chase them. Same economy, different clocks. Now zoom out. What happens when an entire system runs on speed? Shorter cycles, higher leverage, thinner margins for error. Small shocks travel faster, mistakes compound quicker, trust erodes sooner. Stability becomes fragile, not because people are reckless, but because there's no time to absorb impact. In slow systems, friction protects you. In fast systems, friction disappears. And without friction, everything slides. That's the real risk of fast money, not just inflation, not just bubbles, but a system that can't pause long enough to correct itself. Which brings us back to you. You can't opt out of this tax completely, but understanding it changes how you see the world. And when prices rise unexpectedly, it's rarely random. When markets feel disconnected from reality, it's often speed. When your savings feel like they're falling behind, it's not just you, it's timing. The invisible tax isn't collected once, it's collected continuously. Every day money moves faster than your life can. And the question we're left with isn't whether speed is good or bad. It's this: in a world where money never slows down, who's actually paying for the pace?